Hello and welcome as today's date comes in that of Thursday the 19th of September 2019. My name is Derek. This is the Money Charts channel. Like always, all bets trades and of the like, that's within each's own risk and their own reward as Bitcoin prices have fallen below 10,000, albeit barely, and it was, albeit barely, coming into the session as last night it had a decline to the Fibonacci levels. We take a look at this on the daily chart. And a lot of support tests amongst that area at 9,814, exitation of the 18 average of lows after spending a lot of low volatile time within it. And until it's within this range, then it's clearly going to be in that sideways range and thus waiting for what would probably be a clear break on either side of the levels of support and resistance. And the levels of support, which have pierced even below the low 9,000 areas, haven't tested that low 9,000 since the end of August. But break below that, I would expect a significant move. If it's a failed move to 81, but even a move to 63, as I've stated so many times before, that this is an area where we were supposed to find resistance, an area where we did congest at, and would be a spot that would be a higher low significantly over 3,000 if, of course, that's what the situation is. But more importantly, a break of this, that's the next key Fibonacci line as far as resistance. Yeah, a break of this resistance at the 13K, we're talking about those levels first at 15 up to the 20K and higher. But there's been a lot of lower highs, and it really needs to get above at first this high 10,000 or a little below 11,000 mark, and then the target area for that would be between about 12,000 and 13,000 for the upper end of this target. And on the single hour, this happened last night at 2300 hours or 11 p.m. Eastern Time, coming right down to this area, and since then has been consolidating with resistance at about 98.88. Now I want to take some time to talk about Litecoin and Ethereum, as this market has been having a lot of choppy-ish kind of action before, and right now it's giving us a normal setup. As right now the price of Litecoin had prices up here, prices down there. We had all this choppy action in here, and all of this stuff in here. But from this top, level of support established, level of support established again, and what we're seeing is the excitation of the 18, and as is planned within the 18. It looks as if a break below this level could very easily come into play, and I'd be looking for next support at this previous area of congestion at about a little over and around that of a mark of 0.025. Will this be because Ethereum overperforms Litecoin in a run higher coming forward? Will this move even happen? But let's look at both of the crosses against Bitcoin. First with Ethereum, which has on the weekly chart managed to come close to the 18 average of highs, with the week so far up 15.4%, having, of course, significant moves to the downside, but having a much nicer breakout run thus far, as we're going to see with Litecoin here soon, lifting off from the 18 average of lows on September the 14th. And still no signs yet of this topping or correcting back lower. It is overextended, but trying to predict what's going to come next, whether we come back to maybe one of these areas where we came from to make a higher low, so favored now to make a higher low, but that doesn't mean it's going to revert the trend. But this also doesn't mean this run isn't over, especially in crypto spaces when these straight up moves happen so frequently. And again, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I do see in here that we've had a little bit of correctionary moves short term. That if I take a look at, say, this on the single hour term time frame with Ethereum, we established this level of key support at a little over the 0.02 handle, and we most certainly have established a level of resistance here. And from where we stand within from this move higher at 2300 hours last night, as that's when Bitcoin was falling, price action spent some time at the highs, had this little move in here. This support was pretty much at this resistance, and right now I'm seeing excitation of the 18 average of highs on the single hour. And seeing something like this, odds are that we have very little to no resistance at this level, and a significant leg higher from this point would follow thereafter that. And now to Litecoin. And all this trading for me is just another day, another 10,123 Satoshi. But like Ethereum was getting up to the 18 average of highs, where Litecoin has just managed to get up to the lows. And on its single hour term time frame, obviously a much deeper correction from the high yesterday. not from 2300 hours doing any of that stuff, but from this high it has seen it go from the 78 handle down to the 74, and since then has really just stayed within that range. Overall 8-hour term time frame, if we're going to come back to where we came from, I'd be looking this at the 68 handle all the way up to about the 71. The Bitcoin dominance having a few down days, mainly yesterday and the day before. A pausing move a little bit for today, but as it goes in here in the attempt for reversal of trend, as that's what the title of the last couple of last days videos have been, it's just that. It's attempting to revert it. It hasn't done anything of that nature yet. It's either going to do that or it's a failed move now that it's actually stated and is starting such that of its attempt. If price action, or I can't really say price action because it's not really what that is, but if the mathematical number of this comes up in here, resists, we've already established support in this area in here, but if we have some sort of move in here for price, come in here, and then this would be the types of moves you would see within a successful reversal of trend for this market. But just because price, or again, just because the numbers go below the 18 average of lows, that doesn't mean it's just that. For you can have significant moves, you got a lot of this empty space, and if it's on a bullish level, just like I'm looking for the 18 average of lows to go weak to go down, I'm going to be looking for the 18 average of highs for that of this being that of a correctionary move. But for now, it's again just the attempt for the altcoins to start well, basically their run, or what I call or term that of a dartboard rally. I use the term dartboard rally because you just throw it wherever. It's probably not going to hit. It's probably going to hit a number, meaning more times like 90. If you're most people throwing a dartboard should at least hit the board well over 90% of the time, meaning most of the 90% of the coins should go up. Some would do better than others. That's why I like to use that term. But sometimes you'll just miss that dartboard, which means some of the coins will just miss the rallies. Let's move on this next to the Go chain, which if I multiply this by 100 million, I'll get a better log view of this, and I'll get this priced in Satoshi. But right now we're seeing at 117 of them. And an interesting day today because it's up 15.84%. But for the most part, it's really just going sideways in here. However, when we take a look at what's going on today, well, over the last couple of hours, this thing has managed to make a move up near 120. And 120 is still not that large of a number, but a couple hours before that, it was barely below 100. And a few days before that, it was even below 90. And as I look at this, okay, just let the markets run like this as long as I'm here for these moves. And I was there, was at 8 o'clock. That's after my wake-up time. I was going to say bedtime, but I guess it's the opposite of that. And I was there able to sell some Go for, well, really all of the things it's traded against, which is Qtum, Theta, Litecoin, and the Sky. And when I look at them on the ratios, this is what Litecoin and Go look like on the hourly. And on the daily, it's just mainly been shopping around since the start of June. But I'll just keep on flipping back and forth because that works well for me.